Choosing authenticity often means confronting fear, especially fear of rejection. Our brains like patterns. Your growth threatens their comfort. Here's one of the most important psychological truths. When you change, your relationships are forced to change as well. Authenticity doesn't create problems. Very often, it reveals them. When you choose authenticity, you are going to sleep better, you're going to think clearer, you're going to feel more confident and be willing to take more risks, and you stop questioning your worth. It's not about losing people. It's about finding the people who can stay and who can lift you up.
Welcome to Done Pretending, the podcast where healing meets authentic living. I am your host, Susan Houston, storyteller, mentor, and believer in the power of truth to set us free. This is your sanctuary for the soul, a safe space where we peel back the layers of judgment and fear to uncover the beauty of living real. Each week, you'll hear stories of courage, resilience, and transformation that remind you it's never too late to become who you were created to be. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Done Pretending, the podcast where we're going to learn how to take the mask off and become our real self. We're going to stop hiding from the world. Today, I want to talk to you about the neuroscience of authenticity. Most people think that being authentic is just being yourself, but actually, neuroscience would disagree. Authenticity actually requires 3 brain processes. Who knew we'd get so sciencey about being yourself? But when you understand this, you can take this into your businesses, into your daily world, and this is all part of the process of rewiring our brain. Okay? So let's dive into it. First of all, there's self awareness. This is part of the medial frontal cortex, and this is the part of the brain that helps us monitor our internal selves. And research shows that self awareness is effortful. Now, what does effortful mean? It means it requires us to notice our feelings, it requires us to notice what thoughts we're thinking and also to notice our needs rather than running on autopilot. The second thing we need to learn about is emotional regulation. This also involves the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala. Choosing authenticity often means confronting fear, especially fear of rejection, which is when the brain registers that you have been rejected, that emotional pain you feel, your brain actually registers that similarly to physical pain. This is why the idea of being disappointing to loved ones is like a threat to your brain, and your brain is wired to avoid all social exclusion. We're also going to talk about social prediction, which is our default mode network. This network consistently predicts how people will respond to our behavior. So you've gotten very used to playing small, and the people around you are used to the way that you act. When you change those behaviors, your network goes into overdrive in your brain. It's trying to calculate, will they still like me? Will I be punished? What if I lose and stop playing the role that I've always played? What am I going to do then? So, if authenticity has felt scary for you, that makes sense. Your brain sees change as danger, even when it's good for you. Now, why people react the way they do when you change? Here's one of the most important psychological truths. When you change, your relationships are forced to change as well. Some people will welcome that. They're going to cheer you on. Others are going to resist it. And sometimes they're going to resist it aggressively. Why? Because people have learned to rely on the role you are used to playing.
Maybe you've been the peacekeeper or the caretaker or the fixer or the quiet one. Most of us have just been the go along with everything, the agreeable one. When your authenticity shows up, it's going to disrupt the system. And systems do not like disruption. Our brains like patterns. Your growth threatens their comfort. Not intentionally, but when you grow, you often reflect back what others are not willing to face within themselves. Psychologists, they call this identity destabilization. Your change forces others to question their own choices. Some will embrace that. Some are going to push you away. There's also unknown dynamics that are going to feel dangerous to the brain. The human brain prefers predictable relationships. And when you change, the people around you lose predictability. And they often try to steer you back to who you were. This happens all the time. This happened to me for years. I would find my bravery, find my purpose was starting to surface, and people would do things to just steer me back to my norm, the safe zone for them. And it's not because they hated the new me and they don't hate the new you, but they are scared of losing the relationship that they have with you as they've always known it. Authenticity exposes incompatibilities that were always there. Sometimes the relationships you have weren't built on honesty. They were built on the version of you that was suppressing your own needs. Authenticity doesn't create problems. Very often, it reveals them. So let's talk about what are the benefits then of becoming your true self? Because if this is going to cause all these scary things in my brain, why would I want to do that? Because the benefits far outweigh the pain or the discomfort that you may feel along the way. And what we just talked about, that was all the difficult part. There is the other side, the one that's supported by decades of research. When you start unmasking and becoming your true self, you have a higher psychological well-being. And studies show that authenticity, it often correlates with lower depression, reduced anxiety, even higher life satisfaction, stronger resilience. And when you're not pretending, your stress levels will drop. So, all of that is also going to give you better relationships that are built on honesty. Oftentimes, your previous relationships, the old you, were built on conditions being met. You had to be agreeable. You couldn't rock the boat. But now, when you deepen those relationships and they're built on genuine people, genuine you and the other person, that's built on acceptance. People who know the real you will connect more deeply with you. You're also going to find identity coherence, which is like matching the real you. It's one of the strongest predictors of long term mental health. And it means that your inner world and your outer world, they match. There's no more living two lives. There's no more internal tug of war. Oftentimes, we dream about being another person, or we think, wow, I really wish in that meeting I had spoken up and given my ideas. And you didn't because you were afraid of being judged or failing. Well, when your identity starts to match who you really are on the inside, there's going to be no stopping you. And that's when your creativity will also really be able to flow. You're going to find that you have increased motivation and, just like I said, much more creativity. When you identify your true self and you act accordingly, your dopamine increases. And this is the neurochemical that fuels motivation. That's why people will unlock new careers, new passions. They'll find their true purpose. And this new energy will come about when they stop pretending. It's also going to give you a sense of inner peace. And I can speak to this. Things are not perfect, coming after my purpose and making changes in my life. But I can tell you that my stress levels have gone down and I feel like I've stopped performing for everyone. This is who I am. And I freed up enormous mental energy by doing this because I'm not trying to figure out how to make everybody happy around me. I am just being me. Life feels a little bit lighter, a little bit calmer, and I'm definitely more aligned. This is the thing that people don't talk about enough. Authenticity can cost you, but it can also save you. When I was choosing to not be authentic, it almost broke me. So, what are you going to do when your loved ones don't support you in this change? This is probably the hardest part of your journey when your family and friends disapprove of your growth. And think about handling this in a gentle way, both with yourself and with the others around you. Remember, the brain does not like change, and that's true for the loved ones around you. So you need to start with a gentle honesty. Explain what you're working on and why it matters to you, and what you hope to get out of it, what you're hoping for. People cannot adapt to changes if they don't understand it. And when people truly love you, it may take them a minute to catch up, but they will end up supporting you and they will learn to trust your decisions. Number two, you need to set small boundaries, but be careful that these are not confrontational ones. For example, I'm learning to say no to things that overwhelm me. I used to be the one that would always just go along, and if I was out somewhere and it was really loud, I would just kinda get within myself and be quiet, and I hate to admit this, but the older I get, the less I like the loud noises and being in, hugely crowds of people. But I've learned to say now, I need a moment outside, or this is just too loud for me. It's starting to give me a headache, and I think I'm gonna go wait in the car. It's not being disrespectful to those that you love, it's being respectful to yourself, okay? And you can also tell them, "Look, I care about you, but I do need some space to grow, and I ask that you be patient with me." All of this is going to signal safety to them, not conflict. So you need to expect resistance. That is totally normal. In fact, the more you get on your purpose, on your direct path, Bo Eason, one of my mentors, always says, the closer you get to doing what you are meant to do, the more resistance you are going to have come at you. And it's not always going to be that obvious. It's going to be subtle things that are going to try and distract you, or things that are going to move you off your path or make you forget it. You have to, as he calls it, right the ship and just get back on your course. People will often protest not because they don't love you, but because the change is uncomfortable for them. Give them some space, they will adapt. And don't abandon yourself just to keep the peace. This is the trap so many people fall into. Self betrayal is the most expensive form of self destruction. You are going to need to create your own circle around you, circle of people that can support you and listen to you and remind you that you can do this. Neuroscience shows that even if you have one person who's truly supportive, They've got your back. You can text them, you can call them anytime. It is going to increase your resistance and your resilience to being affected by the negativity around you. And this one person, this authenticity circle, if you want to call that, it could be a therapist, it could be a mentor or a coach or an online community like ours. It can be one close friend. Hopefully, if you're in a relationship, it can be your partner. And it can even be a podcast like this one. I personally have been through all of this, and I would love to hear your stories. You don't need everyone around you to understand. You just need a few safe people who do. You are also going to need to accept that some relationships may end, and that's okay. Love hurts. People are often part of our lives for chapters. They teach us something, we've taught them something, we grow together, but then the arc of the story is over and it's time to move on. You're not meant to shrink just so that others can stay comfortable. So, moving forward, you can build a life on authenticity. Here's the truth that psychologists and neuroscientists consistently return to: being your true self and not hiding anymore, it's not about losing people. It's about finding the people who can stay and who can lift you up. And that includes finding yourself. When you choose authenticity, you are going to sleep better, you're going to think clearer, you're going to feel more confident and be willing to take more risks, and you stop questioning your worth. You are worthy of anything that you can dream of. And now you will build relationships on truth, not on performance. It's not an easy path that I'm asking you to dig down and find your true self, but it is the most honest one. And honesty is the foundation of emotional freedom. So here's your call to action. I want you to choose one small dose of authenticity, just one. Maybe it's saying no to doing something you don't want to do. Maybe it's being honest about how you really feel. And that can be with someone around you every day, or that can be something at work too. Maybe you're willing to speak up and say, I think I have a better idea. Have you ever considered this? That doesn't mean that they're going to agree with you, but you succeeded because you took the step to take the risk. It also is admitting something that you really want. I really want to go to this place instead of just agreeing to go along with whatever else anybody was doing because I didn't want to rock the boat. And you have to allow yourself to change and not apologize for it. So that could be your one small action. Just notice that you are choosing to change and don't be sorry for it. Be proud of yourself. Authenticity isn't about a huge leap, it's a series of very small, brave steps. It's been proven if you want to rewire your brain, consistency is the key. One small step building on the other. And if you want more conversations like this, well, I'm going to ask that you follow our podcast. Leave us a review, leave me comments. I want to hear your stories. And be sure and share this episode with someone who needs it. No one has to be alone. No one has to feel like they have to pretend to be somebody else. We're here for them. You're here for them. And most importantly, come back next week. Next week, we are going to dive in how to navigate difficult family situations. Maybe it's during the holidays, maybe it's a big family reunion, and Aunt Gladys is going to be there and ask you those sensitive questions. Well, we're going to talk about how to get through that and set your boundaries. I want you to remember you deserve to fully be yourself and be fully loved. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you for joining me on Done Pretending, where healing meets authentic living. If today's conversation moved you, share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. And if you haven't yet, be sure to follow the show and leave a review. Your words help this message reach more hearts around the world. Remember, you are seen, you are loved, and your story has the power to set others free.